was North Korea's youngest and most elite agent, known for his good looks and deadly efficiency. Not long ago, Daejo transferred to a high school in South Korea. He had barely introduced himself before his classmates burst into laughter. His name, Daejo, sounded old-fashioned and unusual to them. Even his homeroom teacher seemed to think the same and assigned him a desk in the back corner of the classroom. No one realized that the new transfer student was not there to study. He was actually an undercover North Korean operative. His father had lost his life during a secret mission, leaving Daejo to continue the assignment in South Korea. At first, Daejo planned to keep a low profile and live like an ordinary student. However, as soon as school ended, a group of bullies surrounded him. They were not only targeting the new student, they were also extorting protection money from one of his classmates, Hyun. The bullies shoved Daejo, trying to provoke him into a fight. He chose to ignore them and avoid any conflict. Their leader, Eun, took his silence as an insult and challenged Daejo to a fight on the rooftop. As soon as they reached the rooftop, Eun punched Daejo in the face. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. Even then, Daejo refused to fight back because revealing his true abilities would expose his identity. Eun continued mocking and insulting him without mercy. Despite the abuse, Daejo remained calm. One of the bullies searched his pockets, found his wallet, and handed it to Eun. They were surprised to see so much cash inside. Eun then pulled out a family photograph. It showed Daejo with his late father and younger sister. His father was gone, leaving only Daejo and his sister behind. With a cruel smile, Eun began insulting Daejo's sister. That crossed the line. His sister was the person Daejo cared about the most. He struggled to control his anger as he reached for the photograph. In a cold voice, he warned Eun to take the money and leave the photo alone. Furious at Daejo's response, Eun charged at him once again. Fortunately, their homeroom teacher arrived just in time and stopped the confrontation. Not wanting to attract attention, Daejo quietly placed the photograph back into his wallet. However, the incident only made Eun hate him even more. The following day, their strict homeroom teacher ordered every student to hand over their cell phones. He warned that anyone caught hiding, one would face severe punishment. When a few students ignored the order, he punished the entire class instead. Everyone was forced to stay after school and clean the classroom windows. As the students prepared to leave, Eun played another trick. He allowed everyone else to go home while forcing Daejo and Hyun to remain behind. Although the situation was unfair, Daejo accepted it without complaint. While they cleaned, Hyun quietly glanced at him several times. She slowly began to admire the quiet transfer student. Daejo, however, remained focused on his mission. That night, after returning home, he received a package from his organization. Inside were the details of his next assignment. He had been ordered to eliminate a North Korean defector known by the codename Dipper. Dipper had been tracking down and eliminating North Korean agents hiding in South Korea. He was an exceptionally skilled and ruthless assassin. Eliminating him had become the organization's highest priority. After receiving the mission, Daejo immediately began preparing. Following his instructions, he first visited a lottery shop operated by another undercover North Korean agent. After speaking a coded phrase, the shopkeeper immediately understood. Without hesitation, he printed a lottery ticket and secretly handed Daejo a burner phone. The new instructions directed Daejo to a nearby bakery. Pretending to be an ordinary customer, he quietly repeated another code phrase. The baker instantly recognized him as a fellow operative. Without saying another word, he handed Daejo a specially prepared cake. Hidden inside the cake was a disassembled handgun. Daejo calmly removed the weapon, loaded it with the 30 rounds of ammunition provided, and assembled it within moments. The next day, during his lunch break, Daejo headed to the designated meeting location. As soon as the door opened, he launched his attack. With a series of fast and precise moves, he quickly overpowered the owner of a boxing gym, leaving the man bruised and helpless. Refusing to surrender, the gym owner rushed forward and tried to wrestle Daejo to the ground. In an instant, Daejo countered with flawless technique. He grabbed the man's hair, twisted his body, and slammed him hard onto the floor. Instead of finishing him off, Daejo demanded to know Dipper's location. The gym owner refused to answer. Without hesitation, Daejo fired a shot into the man's leg. He coldly warned that this was the price of refusing to cooperate. Then he gave the man one final chance to speak. With a gun pointed at him, the gym owner finally gave in. He revealed that a local pork butcher had recently met with Dipper. While talking, however, he secretly adjusted his position. He pretended to cooperate while looking for an opportunity to strike back. Suddenly, he grabbed a nearby chair and swung it at Daejo. Then he reached for a fruit knife, determined to launch one final attack. But Daejo, now that he had obtained the information he needed, reacted without hesitation. A single, well-placed kick brought the gym owner down for good. It was the first time Daejo had ever taken a person's life. The weight of what he had done filled him with guilt. Even so, he buried those emotions and forced himself to stay focused on his mission. With little time to spare, Daejo returned to school that afternoon. As he entered the classroom, he saw his classmate Hyun being bullied. A group of students was throwing trash at her and ordering her to clean it up. Unable to stand by and watch, Daejo quietly walked over and helped her pick up the mess. The bullies laughed when they saw the transfer student helping her. They mocked the two of them, joking that they were secretly dating. Daejo ignored every insult and continued cleaning without saying a word. His quiet act of kindness deeply touched Hyun. Later that afternoon, Daejo remained distracted during class. His thoughts were still haunted by the life he had taken. Noticing him staring into space, the teacher called on him to answer a a question. Believing he would not know the answer, Hyun quietly whispered a hint. However, everyone had underestimated him. 5, Daejo answered confidently. Correct, very good, the teacher replied. After witnessing his intelligence and calm attitude, Hyun admired him even more. However, the peaceful moment did not last long. After school, Un forcibly dragged Hyun into the science laboratory. By chance, Daejo witnessed everything. Un demanded protection money from her, and even took the tuition money she had earned through her part-time job. He showed absolutely no sympathy. Seeing Hyun's frightened expression, the bullies became even more aggressive. Just as they were about to hurt her, the laboratory door suddenly burst open. Daejo stood in the doorway and immediately noticed Hyun's terrified expression. He instantly understood what was happening. One of the bullies confidently stepped forward to intimidate him. Within seconds, Daejo knocked him to the ground with ease. The remaining bullies rushed at him together. Daejo faced them head-on, defeating each of them with fast and powerful strikes. Watching his friends fall one after another, Un finally stepped in to fight. His confidence vanished after Daejo shattered his hand with a single punch. Un collapsed onto the floor, screaming in pain. Daejo had successfully rescued Hyun. Overwhelmed with relief and fear, Hyun burst into tears. After that incident, the atmosphere in the classroom became much friendlier. However, Hyun stopped coming to school. One afternoon, Daejo found himself worrying about her during class. The homeroom teacher walked around the classroom, checking on each student. As he approached, everyone sat up straight. Daejo, however, remained lost in thought. The teacher raised his hand, preparing to strike him on the head. Reacting purely on instinct, Daejo instantly caught the teacher's wrist. The moment he realized who it was, he quickly let go. The embarrassed teacher stepped back, his face turning bright red. He immediately ordered Daejo to leave the classroom as punishment. Afterward, he hurried to the nurse's office to have his injured hand examined. The rest of the class burst into laughter. For the first time, someone had stood up to the strict teacher. From that day on, Daejo became something of a hero among his classmates. At lunchtime, Un sat in the cafeteria with his injured hand trembling. Even so, he continued acting tough. "Just wait until I recover," he muttered. "I'll make him regret everything." His friends joined in, promising to beat Daejo so badly that no one would recognize him. Just then, Daejo walked into the cafeteria. The bullies' confidence disappeared instantly. The moment they saw him, they visibly tensed. Daejo approached Un, not to fight, but to ask why Hyun had not returned to school. Un stuttered and failed to give a proper answer. With no useful information, Daejo decided to ask the homeroom teacher for permission to look for her. He entered the teacher's office and found him still wearing a bandage on his injured hand. The teacher quickly pulled down his sleeve, clearly embarrassed by the reminder of their previous encounter. When Daejo asked for permission to leave school, the teacher immediately agreed. Daejo went straight to the cafe where Hyun had worked part-time. There, he learned that she had already quit. For a moment, he believed he might never see her again. However, while walking home later that day, he spotted a familiar face. It was Hyun. She had officially withdrawn from school. She had also started a new part-time job at a dance studio. It turned out that dancing had always been her dream. Whenever she passed the school's dance room, she would stop and watch the students practicing inside. To complete the paperwork for her new job, she needed a guardian's signature. She asked Daejo to pretend to be her older brother and sign the form. Although doing so could put his undercover identity at risk, Daejo agreed. Watching Hyun chase her dream reminded him of his younger sister back in North Korea. She also loved art and dreamed of a better future. Sadly, she lived under constant government surveillance. She was being used as leverage to force Daejo to complete his mission in South Korea. More than anything else, Daejo wanted to reunite with his sister. That hope remained the driving force behind every mission he accepted. Even the couple posing as his parents in South Korea were actually undercover North Korean agents. That evening, Daejo walked home with Hyun under a shared umbrella. Having someone kind by her side made Hyun quietly happy. However, Daejo had no romantic feelings for her. He cared about her only as if she were his younger sister. During their walk, he learned more about her difficult past. Her parents had passed away when she was still very young. Since then, she had been struggling to survive by working low-paying part-time jobs. The following day, determined to complete his mission as quickly as possible, Daejo followed the lead he had received earlier. The information led him to a local butcher shop. At gunpoint, the butcher finally agreed to cooperate and revealed the identity of the traitor known as Dipper. He also gave Daejo Dipper's vehicle license plate number. The butcher begged for mercy, but it was only a distraction. Without warning, he lunged at Daejo with a sharp meat hook. Daejo reacted instantly. Using a large slab of pork as a shield, he blocked the attack before quickly overpowering the butcher. With the license plate number in hand, Daejo tracked down Dipper's vehicle and prepared an ambush. Before long, Dipper appeared. Daejo followed him on his motorcycle, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. When the traffic light turned red, the chance finally came. However, Dipper sensed that something was wrong. The moment Daejo reached for his gun, Dipper slammed on the accelerator. Daejo fired several shots. One bullet shattered the side window, another destroyed the rearview mirror, a third shot punctured one of the tires. The damaged vehicle spun out of control and crashed into a roadside barrier. Daejo lowered his helmet visor visor and calmly approached the wrecked vehicle. Dipper was trapped inside with no way to escape. Just as Daejo prepared to complete the mission, he noticed people gathering around the accident. Several bystanders were recording the scene with their phones. To protect his undercover identity, Daejo had no choice but to leave. Even so, Dipper managed to get a clear look at his face. That same night, Dipper led his men to Daejo's safe house. There, they found the couple pretending to be his parents. Without hesitation, Dipper's men stormed into the house. Dipper questioned Daejo's undercover mother and demanded the combination to a hidden safe. He promised to spare her life if she cooperated. It turned out that both sides were searching for the same treasure. Inside the safe was a collection of valuable diamonds, powerful enough to influence major political ambitions. After obtaining the safe's combination, Dipper mercilessly killed her. Upstairs, Daejo's undercover father was listening to music through his headphones. Completely unaware of the danger, he walked directly into Dipper's path. He was also shot and killed. Dipper's men took the diamonds. Dipper then sat down in the living room and calmly waited for Daejo to return. Not long afterward, Daejo arrived home. The moment he saw the bodies, he understood exactly what had happened. The mission had now become deeply personal. He was determined to eliminate Dipper once and for all. Tearing open his shirt, Daejo charged forward. Dipper immediately flipped over a table and launched a relentless series of punches. Daejo calmly blocked every attack. Dipper's furious strikes shattered nearby glass, but failed to land a clean hit. Every move was skillfully countered. Daejo's determination came from one powerful reason. His younger sister was still waiting for him in North Korea. No matter how fiercely Dipper attacked, he could not gain the upper hand. Realizing he was losing the fight, Dipper pulled out a handgun. Daejo reacted instantly by grabbing his wrist. Although he managed to knock the weapon away, the struggle sent both men crashing into a wall. Dipper answered with another barrage of punches. Thinking quickly, Daejo grabbed a nearby cord, slipped behind him, and wrapped it tightly around Dipper's neck. Dipper struggled desperately to breathe. Just when it seemed the fight was over, he pulled out a hidden knife. The battle shifted once again. Daejo narrowly avoided the blade. In a split-second decision, he used a nearby beer can to block the knife. After a brief struggle, Daejo wrestled the weapon away. He then delivered 2 decisive blows, bringing the fight to an end. Although victorious, Daejo suffered serious injuries. Seeing his undercover parents dead because of the mission filled him with guilt. He knew that both his identity and location had been exposed. To erase every trace of his presence, he cut the home's gas line. He placed the blood-stained weapons inside the microwave before escaping on his motorcycle. Moments later, the house exploded in flames. The massive fire quickly attracted emergency responders. Authorities sealed off the entire area. Despite the destruction, investigators discovered several important clues in the ruins. Among them was a piece of Daejo's uniform bearing his name. Using that evidence, they uncovered his true identity as a North Korean operative. Knowing he could no longer remain there, Daejo headed to his designated extraction point. There, he met the elderly woman serving as his handler. Exhausted from his injuries, he collapsed shortly afterward. Thanks to the woman's care, Daejo recovered before long. Just when he believed he could finally return home, another package arrived. Inside was one final assignment. He was ordered to recover the stolen diamonds. His superiors promised that completing this mission would finally reunite him with his younger sister. Without hesitation, Daejo accepted the assignment. What he did not realize was that this final mission would become another desperate fight for survival. Following the intelligence he had received, Daejo arrived at the diamond exchange. Using a silenced pistol, he quietly eliminated the 2 guards at the entrance. However, his presence was soon detected. The diamond transaction came to an immediate halt. One of the remaining men went to investigate, but Daejo had already disappeared. As everyone searched the area in confusion, a grenade suddenly landed in the middle of the group. A powerful explosion followed, instantly killing 2 of the gang's leaders. One survivor grabbed a briefcase and fled the scene. Knowing Daejo was still nearby, the man desperately hid inside the building's ventilation ducts. Even so, Daejo quickly tracked him down. After successfully completing the mission, Daejo prepared to leave. Before returning, he bought fresh fruit for his younger sister and a warm sweater for the elderly woman who had cared for him. It was his way of thanking her for her kindness. After saying goodbye to the elderly woman, he also visited Hien to quietly say farewell as a friend. Soon afterward, Daejo arrived at the extraction point. His contact smiled and told him that if everything went according to plan, he would be eating breakfast in Pyongyang the next morning. For the first time in a long while, Daejo truly believed he would finally see his sister again. But that hope vanished in an instant. Without warning, the contact stabbed him. Despite the intense pain, Daejo fought back and managed to overpower his attacker. Confused, he demanded to know why a fellow North Korean agent had betrayed him. The contact coldly replied that Daejo had been far too trusting. He revealed that undercover agents were never allowed to return home alive. At that moment, the horrifying truth became clear. From the day they accepted their mission, missions, North Korean operatives were treated as disposable tools. Whether they died at the hands of the enemy or their own government made little difference. Daejo finally understood what had happened to his father. After successfully completing his mission, his father had been killed before he could return home. With no other choice, Daejo killed the traitorous contact. He could hardly believe that his loyalty had been rewarded with betrayal. With nowhere else to turn, the wounded Daejo made his way to the elderly woman's stall, hoping to find answers. Instead, he found the entire area surrounded by police. Her undercover identity had also been exposed. When she noticed Daejo hiding among the crowd, she shouted for him to run. Moments later, she was arrested. The police chief noticed Daejo's emotional reaction in the crowd and immediately sensed that something was wrong. He ordered his officers to chase him. Even so, Daejo managed to escape. With no safe place left to hide, he sought shelter at Hyeon's apartment. Thanks to her care, he slowly recovered from his injuries. Meanwhile, Hyeon learned Daejo's true identity through television news reports. Despite discovering that he was a North Korean operative, she chose not to report him. She believed he was not a bad person. She understood that everything he had done was for the sake of protecting his younger sister. Because of that, she allowed him to stay until he recovered. The following day, while shopping for groceries, Hyeon unexpectedly met the police chief. He questioned her about Daejo's whereabouts. Suspecting that she knew more than she admitted, he carefully watched her reactions. Even so, Hyeon calmly pretended she knew nothing. At the same time, North Korean officials secretly brought Daejo's younger sister into South Korea. Their goal was to recover the stolen diamonds. Soon afterward, Daejo received another call from his superiors. They ordered him to exchange the diamonds for his sister's life. His heart sank. She was the only family he had left. No matter the cost, he had to save her. Early the next morning, Daejo rode to the designated meeting place with the diamonds. The sound of his motorcycle woke Hyeon. An uneasy feeling immediately came over her. Fearing that something terrible was about to happen, she contacted the police chief and asked for help. At the meeting point, Daejo finally saw his younger sister. It was the reunion he had dreamed about for so many years. Sadly, he had no idea he was walking straight into a deadly trap. As he prepared to hand over the diamonds, enemy agents quietly aimed their weapons at him. The moment the exchange was complete, they planned to kill him. Just as the situation reached its breaking point, a gunshot echoed through the area. The police chief and his officers arrived just in time, disrupting the ambush. As chaos erupted, Daejo chased after the vehicle carrying his sister. Despite his efforts, he could not catch it. Just when it seemed she would be taken away again, several police vehicles blocked the kidnapper's escape route. His sister was finally rescued. Relieved that she was safe, Daejo quietly slipped away. He believed his life as an undercover agent had finally come to an end. He was mistaken. The organization shifted its attention to Hyeon. That night, Daejo received another threatening phone call. He was ordered to deliver the diamonds. Otherwise, Hyeon would become their next target. Realizing that she was in danger because of him, Daejo decided to end everything himself. Before leaving, he secretly called the police chief. He left his phone near the entrance so the authorities could trace his location. Then he went alone to the final meeting place. After carefully surveying the area, Daejo confirmed that Hyeon was still alive. He pulled out the diamonds and threw them into the air. As everyone rushed to grab the valuable gems, Daejo opened fire and shot one of the armed men. However, he was badly outnumbered. A bullet struck him in the shoulder. Forced to fall back, he took cover inside the room where Hyeon was being held. He continued returning fire, but the enemy's superior numbers kept him pinned down. During the standoff, Daejo noticed a nearby gas cylinder. He threw a small explosive toward it. Pulling Hyeon close to protect her, he detonated the charge. A massive explosion erupted, knocking several enemy agents off their feet. Amid the chaos, Daejo and Hyeon tried to escape. Just as they thought they were safe, an assassin caught up with them. The attacker tackled Daejo to the ground and pinned him down. In the distance, the sound of approaching police sirens echoed through the area. Realizing that help was close, Hyeon fought back with everything she had. At the same time, the North Korean commander regained consciousness and raised his weapon. Just before he could pull the trigger, the police chief arrived with his officers. However, Daejo suddenly pointed his gun toward the commander. He declared that he could never return to his homeland. Instead, he was willing to sacrifice his own life to secure his sister's freedom. Without hesitation, Daejo opened fire on the North Korean commander. A brief but intense exchange of gunfire followed. When the shooting finally stopped, both men collapsed to the ground. Hyeon watched the heartbreaking scene in shock. The police chief rushed to Daejo's side and quickly took him to the hospital. As his strength slowly faded, Daejo softly repeated his sister's name over and over again. Even in his final moments, her safety remained his greatest concern. Despite every effort to save him, Daejo succumbed to his injuries. As the story came to an end, life slowly began to move forward. In the emotional conclusion, Hyeon took responsibility for caring for Daejo's younger sister. She welcomed the grieving girl into her life and cared for her as if she were family. Together, they found the strength to support one another through their loss. In doing so, they fulfilled Daejo's final wish of keeping his sister safe. The story ends on a bittersweet yet hopeful note. If you enjoyed this movie recap, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you never miss another movie explanation.